Hey guys, I'm Eric and I'm going to change the battery and the starter relay on my 2016 Seadoo Spark. So before I get started, I'm going to make sure I have my parts and my tools. The battery I'm replacing is a 20L-BS PowerSport battery. I got this at Walmart for $60. I'm also going to replace the starter relay, which is in the fuse box. It was $15 on Amazon for a pair of them. I've got two skis, so I'm replacing both. I've got an electrical tester, 10mm socket, a T27, which I'll use as with my drill, and a backup manually, and a steel wire brush to scrape down the leads a little bit, sand them down while I got the battery. We were out on the green Spark, and it completely died. I got no response from it. So I wanted to try the easy things first, which is batteries and fuses. As you can see in here, there is the battery and there is the fuse box. Fuse box, you pinch these two tabs together and pull up, pops right off. There's your fuses you can check, and here's the starter relay. You can get a pair of starter relays on Amazon for $15, and there's spare fuses right in the lid of the box. Once I replaced the starter relay, I was back in business. I also replaced the battery, and I'm going to replace the battery and the starter relay and check the fuses on the yellow Spark also. First step we're going to do is take the seat off. There's a lever underneath. Pull that lever up, slide it out. That seat comes off. That side, we'll take off the compartment bay hatch, which it pops off. We'll take off the SOS knee pad, knee components, those pop out. There's one on the other side. Pops out of here, and there's two tabs that come out. Reverse is to just slide it back in, punch it in, take it off, take it off. Okay, my next step is come over left hand side to the access cover and to unlock it and pull it out from the top. It pops out, which gives me access to the wire harnesses. You pull these tabs back like that, pull this one back, those are back. I can now press these tabs down that will allow me to separate the wire harnesses from each other. Okay, next we'll do the steering. Right here is a ring that's snapped on. You just pull that back so it's loose. There's two T27 screws, one on the bottom, one on the top that need to be loosened, and way in the back, which is much easier if you turn your steering down. As you can see, the steering is moving down, making it easier for me to reach. That's a 10mm bolt on top, 10mm on the bottom. I'll take a 10mm wrench and hold the bottom while I use a 10mm socket right on top. Okay, I've got the steering cable nut and bolt off. I can now just move my steering back and move it away from the steering cable. The steering cable is now loose. As you can see, I can press it in, and that is the cable right there. This is it right here, this heavy cable. When we take the top off the wave runner, we will need to feed this steering cable through this hole so it does not get damaged. Next step is to take off the T27 screws from around the gas tank. Just simply undo all three screws and take those off. Okay, I've separated the wire harness, I've separated the steering, and I've separated the gas tank. On the front of the Spark, there are 5 screws that need to come off, and there's one under this lip here. One here, here. That one here, and that one there. On the back of the spark, there are 8. We're gonna first be taking off these caps. I've got one loosened already. Wow. Take that screw off, and these go off to the side. See, there's a little groove. That's how that fits in there. And when we come back to put it back on, it will slide back on into place. So it slides off to the side. We then have 1, 2, 3, 4, and it'll be 5 and 6. Okay, now the fun part, the sides. There are 5 on the sides. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There is a nut under each of these T27s. It looks like this. At the end of the day, there's a washer and a nut. You can see it's very corroded. That's an M6 nut with a nylon insert to hold it in. So pretty good time to replace these nuts. And I'm using one here, my T27. And on the bottom, I'm using a 10mm socket to hold the nut while I'm unscrewing the T27. Okay, I've got the rear T27s off. I've got the sides unbolted. I've got the front. I've got the steering disconnected. The wire harness disconnected. I'll remove the oil cap just to get that out of the way. We're now ready to lift off the top and move it forward and set it down on the ground. Okay, got around and kind of loosened the top. Picked it up a couple times. We'll need to go forward. Again, we are going to need to shift this steering cable out of here as it gets picked up. So as this is getting lifted up, steering cable will get moved down, and it's off. So we've got So now we can disconnect our battery terminal. We do negative first. You can see this. We get this steering cable out of the way. Negative is off. Take that aside. And positive is off. As you can see, you can zoom up on that. There's some corrosion on the leads. We're going to use that steel brush to just scrape off the corrosion on each side while we have that. At the same time, when I take the battery strap off here, it just pushes down. This is a rubber band type strap. There's a little lip down here. See? Comes up. Battery just pulls in and out. There's my battery. While I'm here, I'm going to check my fuses. Click the tabs, lift the box. There's your spare fuses inside the box. Here's my starter relay. And you can really just pull these little fuses out, hold them up to the light to see if any are burnt out. Maybe brush them up a little bit. And this starter relay, I'll replace as well. Okay, here's the old starter relay. Here's my new one. And here's my new battery. And I got it at Walmart for $60. Plastic. It does have a giant negative and a giant plus. Once I put the battery in, these little bolts slide in. Slide, and then we'll put the screw in with the lead on, and I will pop the the new little starter relay into the fuse box. Okay, since I have the leads exposed, I'm going to brush those a little bit. You can see the corrosion coming off right away. Let's give these a little metal scraping. Make sure those are good and clean. I'll do the same with the negative. Scrape them off. Okay, I've scraped down my leads a little bit, so those are good and clean. I'm going to pop the new starter relay in, the Omron starter relay. The relay is in. Lift up my strap. My battery in its tub here. Luckily that didn't go far. It's the nuts for the battery. That's ready. It's in there snug. I'm going to take this and put this belt buckle on the little loop. Make sure that's on good. Okay, sucker's in there snug. Positive on. So I put the starter relay in, the new one. Screwing back together my battery leads, positive first, then negative. Put the top back on my fuse box. That's clicked on. Got my battery ready, harness ready, steering cable is ready to be fed through the hole, and we'll put the top right back on and screw everything back together. Okay, got the top back on. As we were putting it on, we fed the steering cable through this hole so that it is ready to be attached to the steering inside there. We can attach our harnesses, our steering, our screws back into the gas tank piping, put the sides back on, and the back and the front. Okay, in putting the steering back on, I've actually found it easier to go on the right side so that I can reach my arm around into the engine bay and maneuver the steering cable around. You can see it moving as I'm moving it around from the inside. Once I get that in position, I can then get started on my T27 screws to screw that in. I'll then be able to move the steering over so that I can slide the cable into position. Oh, went too far. And put the bolt through there. Pretty simple process. Okay, I've attached my steering. Checking that that's working. Actually sprayed a little bit of WD-40 on that bad boy. It's turning. I'll put the ring clip down. It snaps down. That is down. That left knee pad is ready to be covered. And now I'll screw in these T27s here. Okay, I'll attach my wire harnesses. That in. Once it's in all the way, put this little lock forward to lock it. It snaps, and same with this one as well. Clip those together. Okay, now that I've got the top back on the spark, I've set my screws, the 8 in the back, sides and the 5 in the front. And I'll start to just screw those back in. Okay, and the last part, we'll slide on these back plates. Again, they slide right into a groove. There's a groove there. Slide right on, sideways. And just screw those in. And then we will slide our access panel in. It's in. Pop it in. Lock it up. It's flush. And we'll put a left knee cover in. You can see it kind of scoops underneath the tabs, and then the back pops in. So get those tabs up under, and then push it in. That's it for that. We'll do the right hand side. Now we'll slide our seat back on. Slides in and pops down. So we'll pop this into these tabs here. You can see the other side has those latches. Just pops down in. And we'll test that she's working. Pop the key on. Got a welcome aboard. Power on. And it's working.